Welcome back to the Driveway Beers podcast with Mike and Alex. As always, we appreciate you listening. Please rate us on all the podcast platforms. Like, subscribe, comment, share wherever else you're listening, and enjoy the show. All right, welcome back to another show. We appreciate you coming back. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, and share all the fun stuff that I always say at the beginning of every show. I want to thank Adam Chubbuck with Douglas Realty in Pasadena. Go to tacmd.com. That's TACMD.com. We're in the new year. This episode is coming out 21st, the day after the inauguration. The real estate market is going to be exceedingly hard. You've got inflation that is kind of stagnating, still going up, not going up. Who knows what's going on? The interest rates probably are not going to get cut as much as people expect this year, which means interest rates might not come back down. I believe they went from like 5.5 to almost 7 already for mortgage rates. But they are going to fluctuate. And you need to work with a professional real estate agent that has contacts in the mortgage industry, has contacts in the decorating industry, especially if you're selling. Look, you might think your house is wonderful looking on the inside, but trust me when I say this, have your real estate agent reach out to a decorator and stage your home. That way when people come in, they see your home at its best, and it makes them want to buy it more. I mean, obviously price means something, but visuals mean something. That's why they say kitchens and baths sell homes. When people see a nice kitchen and bath, they know that the house has been taken care of. Well, when your house looks nice and is clean and has been taken care of by a decorator, that's what they see when they walk in. And a professional real estate agent is going to make sure all of those ducks are in a row when you sell your home. And when you go to buy your home, they're going to make sure that you're doing what's in the best interest of you. At least most of them. And that's why I support Adam. And Adam supports us because I know that Adam is going to do what's right by you. He's not going to give you bad advice. He's not going to let you do something that's going to hurt your wallet. So go to tacmd.com, TACMD.com. At least sit down with Adam before you make a real estate move. I actually have a meeting with him next week. Going to talk about some maybe an investment property to do together. But so when we have sponsors on this show, these are people that we know personally or that we have personal experiences with. And we won't take a sponsorship until we have that personal experience with them. There's been a couple places I've gone up to, just hasn't worked out. I didn't feel right to promote that business. So go to tacmd.com, go talk to Adam. Worst case scenario, you get a cup of coffee out of it.
Well, are you, and I don't know Adam all that well, or at all, but are you still decorating? Because, like, I know when vajazzling became a big kind of thing with women bedazzling their vaginas, that you got into, like, the bedazzling the boys. So you actually helped me with my happy trail down to my ball fro and getting that bedazzled. And I don't know if Adam's going to be upset at me saying this after the fact, but you are a pretty good decorator.
So I've moved on from the visuals to the personal areas. So now I like to kind of bedazzle the taint area.
Oh, look at you.
So not too many people are going to see that, but you'll know it's there.
Nice.
It's more for you than for the aesthetic.
It depends how you dress, because like when I decorate, I want people to see it. I leave the drapes open, if you get what I'm saying.
I mean, but no one's really doing. They walk down the hallway. They're not really doing the dog slide the ass on the floor with the legs open
when
so
it's
people
itching
can see
and you're
the
trying
taint.
to
Right? Yeah. I mean, there's not a whole lot of people doing that.
I'm sorry. I just wrecked the show by starting it off with vajazzling.
Well, you know, I didn't help by taking it down to the taint level.
Yes, you did not.
The nether regions of the human body, if you will.
Yeah, so we were actually, it's funny because when I was talking to Alex here, we probably did about 25 minutes worth of show upstairs, and I said, "Why are we doing this here? Let's go record this."
Well, and so Mike and I do that after the show. We turn the mics off. By the way, Mike's not here. He might be here. We're waiting on him. We're not waiting on him. We'll see what happens. He is job related issues, and also he took on 2 personal goals that he's been working on. So his January's been all fucked up. But whenever we've turned off the microphones, we've usually sat for another hour and just talked. And it's the uncensored talk. Not that I've never censored the show. So I'm the one that usually will take the audio, mash it together, and I put it out, right?
Well, it's weird. Of the three of us, I'm probably the least to curse just because when I see a microphone, my brain goes, don't say that in front of that. Because when people see me in real life, they're like, how do you not curse on the air? And I said, look, I've come close, and I've actually done it once or twice.
They hit the dump button.
Yeah. I mean, and sometimes the dump button doesn't work. I almost got fired once because somebody cursed on the air, and I hit the dump button 10 times. And they came back in, and they realized the dump button was jammed, or else I might not be doing radio today. It was like my first year with this station.
That's the beautiful thing about podcasts. You can say whatever. Because we self-rate the podcast when we upload it. So I always put the explicit language in there. I make sure kids aren't listening to this shit. So like if parents have like settings on their apps, they won't see this show. It just won't come up.
But if kids are listening, let the boy watch. No, let him listen. No, it's... but like you look at these things though, and it is something where I know Howard Stern did it when he first went to Sirius and he had the no cursing rule to start off, and then obviously everything changes. But I felt like Barstool kind of did that initially, where it's like you flip them on, it's F this, F that, F, and it's okay, I get it. We talk like that, but not like that in real life.
Sometimes it's too much.
Yeah.
And so like I'm probably the worst offender of the three of us. And most guests won't curse. It's usually me. And it's usually when I get a little animated. Mm-hmm. Like there's a couple topics that I got a little heated on. And so I'm the one usually dropping F's, S's, and POS. It is what it is. So I don't edit any part of it unless we pause for something. Like if I got to go take a shit, I'll pause and whatever.
When you do the uncensored version, just do it on the air.
Well, here's the thing. So the uncensored, we kind of self-censor. Like we're kind of aware of what we're saying.
Mm-hmm. It's like reality TV. Like it's not reality, but there are cameras there.
Yeah, like we're very well. Like this is going to be show 198. So we're close to 200 shows. We're now more self-aware of what we're saying, but so that to say, like I don't go back through and censor the show. I don't edit it out. So I usually put the intro and the last 30 seconds is just music playing over whatever we're saying. Mm-hmm. But when the mics have gone off, we've usually sat for like another hour and we just talk. And we've talked about making that basically have the conversation with the microphones on.
Yeah, leave it on and just record it.
We talked about putting it behind like a paywall.
Okay.
Like starting a members only type thing where only members of the show would get to listen to those shows.
Are you and Mike starting an OnlyFans page together?
We thought about it.
Is that what's happening?
Only dick pics though. No face shots.
Ew.
But if we do only dick pics, it's not like they're not going to see much.
It's so yeah. If I join in, they're definitely not going to see much.
They'll see the inversion probably, which they never see. They'll never have seen that maybe because that's not really a big hit on the porn sites. It's to see the inverted dick.
It's so funny because me and my buddies always go back to movie quotes and do the dumbest ones over and over again. But Hall Pass has to be one of my favorite movies to quote. In the scene where they finally go out for the first night and they're at Chili's, and the one guy goes, "All right, here's a question: would you rather make out with a guy or let him blow you?" All right, so they're going back and forth, and then the guy's like, "Well, what does he do for a living?" And then all of a sudden, I'm like, "What does that have to do with either?" Like, it just made me laugh so much.
No, I understand that though.
Do you?
I do. Because if he's a rich dude with millions upon millions, I mean, look, you become Julia Roberts in that scenario.
Oh, you're the prostitute.
Yeah, if that's what his thing is to do it to you.
I get it, man. I get it.
I mean, if there might be an exchange. I mean, there will be an exchange if things go the right way. But
no, but like again, we throw around. I was telling my buddy this. I said, I don't know that I'm an expert in anything except for shitty movie quotes, like tending to remember movies and lines and music lyrics. Like I heard a song the other day I hadn't heard in 20 years, and I remembered every effing word to it, but I couldn't remember my wife's birthday 3 years ago. Like it's what the hell's wrong with me?
Was it the Spice Girls?
Well, no, it wasn't the Spice Girls this time. It was Truly Madly Deeply.
Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Dude, that song will forever be ingrained.
It was Savage Garden.
By the way, my mother fucking mind fucked me the other day.
How?
She didn't even know she did it. I'm over at her place. I'm doing some technical shit, some tech stuff because I'm her geek squad. You know, that's fun.
I get that because I think you're kind of my geek squad too.
Sure, I'm probably a lot of people's geek squad, and I just don't realize it. I joke with my wife about it because she has me fix her work IT shit. Like she has an IT department for work. Like, why are you asking me? She goes, well, you're right here.
Yeah.
Like,
it's easier.
Proximity, son of a bitch.
And she probably trusts your work too.
Probably.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. But what the fuck was I saying? No.
You were talking about your mom making you do her IT work.
She mind fucked me. So I'm over at her house and she starts talking about the boy band, the Korean boy band BTS.
Yeah, K-pop.
She just starts talking about that. Like all of a sudden my 75, 76-year-old mother's talking about fucking K-pop, which she also kind of got into Korean soap operas on YouTube. Like she's
Is she reading subtitles or she just
yes, it's not dubbed in English. Like I was over there yesterday setting up a new printer for her, and I just start hearing Korean. She's watching this shit. I'm just kind of baffled. She wasn't a big soap opera person to begin with, but now she's into Korean soap operas. I'm like, what are we doing here?
Hey,
but so anyway, she all of a sudden starts talking about BTS and how like these kids put off their they didn't put off their military service, so they're a little bit older. And she's like she's calling them by name. And then, of course, they had the 2 hit songs that I know about.
I know the one name's Kim. Is that racist to say that? Oh.
No, I think that's one. No, it's
Jimin? The most common name in Korea.
Well, then there's Jimin or something is another one. The fact that I know
Jay-Sean?
Yeah, well, I think that's one. The fact that I know one of their names is Jimin, though, and I should never know this shit, is another part of the mind fuck.
It's like you know the names of the Teletubbies now without having kids.
We just talked about the swearing and how many times I just keep
turned into Barstool.
Okay. So anyway, she plays the song, Dynamite. That is one of those songs that burrows into your head and doesn't come out. So now I got it on my Spotify playlist, and now I'm jamming it. I'm rocking this shit in the car. I swear to God, it's been over a month, and I can't get that Butter song out of my head.
That's a good song, though.
But here's the thing: when you listen to these songs, and when I talk about rap music, you can't understand the words and shit like that. Nowadays, I still love my old school shit, but when I listen to this song, it's English, but the words don't go together.
Yeah,
I'm like, wait, that's just words.
This is kind of the whole K-pop thing is kind of insane when you think about it, because like we've seen, what's the right word? Clothing get brought back. You know, when bell bottoms became back in, and people are saying, no, you can't wear this. You wear this now. And you can't wear sneakers with suits, but some reason it's okay now, according to some people. You know what I mean? Like they really brought back 90s R&B and made it Korean. And one of my favorite things to do now, one of my favorite things to do every day is to get in my spaceship and drop about 120 to 200 milligrams of edibles. And then if we get to go to a Korean barbecue place, I'm in heaven. It's my favorite thing to do. The one time we went to, oh God, what's the one in Ellicott City? That's not Honey Pig, is it? Either way, doesn't matter. Korean barbecue place, we go in there and K-pop's playing. And now, look, I'm high as a kite, or as I always say, higher than a giraffe's asshole. So as I'm up in my spaceship and I'm hearing this music, I just start vibing, and the food's good, and I'm Shazamming all these songs. I was so high I forgot that I did that, and then one day my shuffle is on, and I'm like, what the hell is this shit? What's going on here? Oh, that's right. And then it starts to get to the chorus. It's like, oh yeah, I did like this song.
Just so I don't have to live alone in this mindfuck of a world, I'm letting everyone hear it. I'm just gonna let it sink into all of them too.
Butter?
None of these words go together. Iced tea, phone, none of it.
Yeah. Well, you know, like that. Somebody, who was it? It was there was a foreign artist. It was an Italian artist. I just saw this on social media this week. He wanted to prove that it doesn't matter what the lyrics are in a song. So he didn't know any English. You can look it up if you want.
Yep.
But Italian artist didn't know any English, but he knew English words. So he just started saying random things. It was probably like how Beck started off too. It's like,
yeah. So I 100% agree with that because.
And by the way, the song turned into a hit.
There is a rhythm pattern that the human brain loves, and that's how like. Have you ever heard that guy Scott Storch?
I know who you're talking about, but I was going to bring up Charlie Puth talking about this.
Okay, so Scott Storch was a producer for a lot of pop music for the last probably, I'd say 20 years, 20, 30 years. And he essentially used just a formula where, I mean, he changed the instruments so it sounds a little bit different. But there was the other guy that was behind NSYNC. The big dude.
The big dude that
they all sued him.
They have all. Yeah, there's that podcast show about him on like Netflix or whatever.
Yeah, and so
was it called Dirty Pop or something?
Something like that. Yeah, and he basically could take any 5 kids and he picked them by look, and didn't really care if they could sing because he was going to auto tune them pretty much.
I think he needed one in the group to showcase that could sing a little bit. Like that's the Justin Timberlake. That's probably when you look at the Backstreet Boys, you can look at the
guy. Yeah. Everyone knows that guy,
Nick Carter, and like whatever.
That was it Nick Carter, and who was the guy from
Justin Timberlake?
No,
Nick Lachey?
No, the older.
Older?
Older.
The New Kids on the Block?
Yes, that guy.
Like Joey?
It was Joey McIntyre. Then what's the other guy that I'm thinking about?
You're thinking of Jordan, I think.
Nah, he was the shorter one of all of them. I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, they all.
Well, you had Mark. Well, you had the Wahlberg in there.
Well, Marky Mark was so good looking. They had him go on his own.
Yeah.
He couldn't be in the boy. He was too good looking to be in the boy band.
Come on, sing it.
Right. Yeah. And oddly enough, he's probably the highest paid actor in Hollywood now. But
no, to what you're talking about though, and I know we had other things we're going to discuss, but like,
we'll get there.
So Charlie Puth was on Howard Stern, and he was talking about like how music is written, and they use the same type of notes. That's why this is going to sound really weird. Like the reason that some people just absolutely love Bruce Springsteen is he writes totally different than the way that everyone else is taught. Yep. You know, like the music is different. When you're supposed to go up high and that's pleasing to the ear and the mind, he's going low. And just how music, like you can literally take Florida Georgia Line is the perfect example. You can pretty much take every one of their songs and match it up. And you could take the lyrics from one song and put it on another. And then you could take random pop songs and put it on that. And that's why when you hear these mashups, they work so well. It's the same absolute rhythm going through it. And you can just, change the lyrics and make it work.
I'm writing down. So lately, I've had issues remembering what we talked about on shows. And then I couldn't think of a title. So I just wrote down Music Mindfuck. Because that's going to be part of the show title.
Makes sense.
I couldn't. And then the other part of the title will be what we're going to talk about next. Which is another mindfuck. The Inauguration. There was not a bad segue.
Yeah.
Amateur hour, but not a bad segue. All right. I'm trying to think of a way to... So, obviously, we're recording this on the 19th. Tomorrow's the 20th. It's the Inauguration. Which apparently is...
Trump getting inaugurated on MLK Day kind of is still a little...
Is it?
A little funny to me, yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, but, okay. It is and it isn't. And it goes back to the Civil Rights Act signing. So, the idea, and I'm going to put this out there, and I'm going to kind of disprove some of this.
He had a dream. I had a dream. So good. My dream was better. No, I'm sorry. Go
ahead. I've done more for black people than MLK.
Yeah, I can definitely hear that. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So the minorities tend to gravitate toward the Democrat side of things. It's well known. I think even with 30% of black men voting for Trump, I still think the overall black vote was like 90%. It's the only voting bloc that votes so heavily in one direction. The oddest part of it is, and it stems from when LBJ signed the Civil Rights Act. What they've conveniently left out of history was that it was the Republicans that pushed that bill forward. The Republican Party had less opposition to it when it came down for votes. LBJ, after he signed it, said, and there's audio of this, he said, I'll have them N-words voting Democrat for the next 200 years, because he was a Democrat president that signed it. LBJ was no friend of minorities.
Oh, long balls.
And then the other part of it was the Planned Parenthood aspect, which is mostly another Democrat issue. The founder of it was Margaret Sanger. Margaret Sanger was a eugenics person.
Stuff that Frank Thomas is on?
That's
Nugenics. Okay, I just didn't know if she was helping get hard-ons and.
Although I don't know what happened.
I think I'm ruining your inauguration.
No. So I don't know what happened with that. They changed the name. So you know how it was Nugenics with Testofen? Mm-hmm. Their patented formula, their patented ingredient was Testofen. Now they changed the name of it, and the patented ingredient is something else.
Yeah.
Testacin.
Yeah.
Testacin. Yeah. Instead of Testafin. So something happened there, and I don't know what Frank's doing, but anyway, okay.
Back to eugenics.
So Margaret Sanger was big into eugenics. She was a white supremacist. She created Planned Parenthood with the idea that abortions were going to they were going to go into minority neighborhoods and basically kill off minority children so that their population wouldn't grow. She was a hardcore racist and separatist. So her idea behind Planned Parenthood was to basically kill off minority babies, which is wild. Because in today's day, like that, you now would look at that as like a movie character, movie type of evil.
So it's weird because I do, and again, I'm listening to what you're saying, but there's also the thought process too of not giving poorer people, where a lot of minorities are going to be, the access to having, proper education on sex, or even having, condoms, whatever type of prophylactic or whatever they want to use.
They tried moving that into schools. And like, I know when I was in school, when I got into high school, I think it was freshman or sophomore year, you had sex ed. Now, I know not all schools do that. And I know not all parents want that in schools. They don't know, this isn't for the school to teach my kid about sex. Okay. But they're not teaching your kid how to have sex. They're teaching your kids, hey, use a condom. Here's how to put a condom on.
Yeah.
By the way, during this part of a woman's cycle is when she can get pregnant.
Watch Principal Thomas put one on with his mouth.
Sure.
What?
All the time. Yeah. So it's not like they're teaching your kid how to have sex. They're teaching your kid about sexual reproduction. There's a big difference. The big difference between education.
I don't think the teacher's going to sit up there and go, this is reverse cowgirl, ladies.
Yes. This is what will feel the best for you. Fuck that guy. Literally.
Now you got to have a safe word, and we should all pick something that has multiple syllables.
Now some people have a safe word that's like not the safe word, but they want to pretend like it's the safe word, and then they have a real safe word. So like banana is the safe word that's not the safe word. So you say banana, and he'll know not to stop. But if you say tutti frutti, he knows it's time to, we got to cut this off, right? Yeah. So ladies, get your vocabulary right. Anyway, all right. So different topic altogether. But so there are certain mind fucks that have happened in the political landscape of things. Because let's not forget, politicians and political parties are not your friend.
I thank you for saying that, because like here's my big issue, and again, I've said this before, because I do lean a little bit more left because of social issues and things like that. I'm a middle class to upper class white guy. I'm going to be fine for the rest of my life, no matter what. So I don't necessarily vote for me, but that being said, I hate both of these parties. Like, they both just piss me off with the lies and the finagling and, oh, we got to do this, and it's like, pick a side. Like, it's got to be the same way across the board. And even now, like you're talking about the inauguration, all these people that bitched about Trump not doing or, conceding and all the other stuff with the inauguration last time, and now people going at Kamala for not doing it this time and all that. And it's like, it's got to be one way or the other. You don't get the bitch that he did it here and then you do it and say, oh, now you don't get to complain. Like, I don't know why we can't have this transition of power be a little bit nicer and better, And I ultimately feel like that we, the people, are the ones that get screwed no matter who's in office.
Do you want to know the answer to that question?
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah.
You don't put money in my bank account as a politician if you're not mad. And that's what it comes down to. If I don't make you, and this is what, so, and I am victim of this. As a, again, white middle class guy, I'd say over the last 8 years, I've been led to believe that all black people hate me. If I listen to that media. If I listen to MSNBC, CNN, like the left-leaning media, I am the devil. Yeah. I am the worst human being on earth because I'm white. Now, granted, I'm kind of like Asianish white, but whatever you want to call it. I guess I'm I am white. Let's just put it that I'm white. I look white. I mean, I could pass as Mexican.
Where's your family from in Asia?
So Armenia.
Oh, that's right. You're Armenian.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Like,
so we're like, it's like the Christian nation in the middle.
Kind of look like
Muslims.
a Serbian in a leg lock, right? With all that hair.
Look, my hair is more Jewish than anything. Like,
I'm kidding.
I married a Jewish woman, and the funny part was, it's like when I met like her friends and stuff, they're like, "Oh, he's Jewish." Like, no.
Oh, I get that too because my last name's Khan. It's like, "Oh, you're a nice Jewish boy." No, yeah. I'm not Jewish.
Well, when they heard my last name, they knew what it was. But because the last name for any Armenian is either IAN or YAN.
Yeah,
always. With the exception of some that dropped it when they came over.
Like got Americanized, you mean?
So like a buddy of mine's last name is Kubik. Well, the real name it's Kubikian. But when he comes out, when the family comes over on the boat, the person writing it down dropped it on him, and so it just ended up being Kubik. But either way, I am being led to believe that all black people think I am the shittiest, worst person on earth, and I am the cause of all their issues. Well, that makes you feel a certain way, right? Now, here's the thing, though. I have a black friend. I went on a golf trip with one of my oldest golf buddies, and he's a 41, he's a little bit younger than me, black guy. I've been to his wedding. He went to my wedding. Like, we're good friends. And, like, we were just talking a little bit of politics, and I'm like, do you hate me because I'm white? Like, I don't have a filter. And with friends, I don't have filter. It all it spews out like garbage. And he goes, no. He goes, but I understand why you asked the question. No. Because, I mean, he's watching the same shit I'm watching, right? And he's like, yeah, he goes, some of this rhetoric from the people, and this is what he would refer to them. He refers to them as race hustlers, just like a lot of people refer to them. And that's their moneymaker, is the race hustle. It's, if they don't make you angry over race, and this is like the Jamel Hills, the Al Sharptons, the Joy Reids, and like these people, the only reason why they're popular is because they appeal to a small niche of people that pay money to listen to this, because that's what it's their confirmation bias, right?
Would you say that there's also the other group, like the Clay Travis, Jason Whitlock?
So I don't think Clay Travis and Jason Whitlock are in that.
No, I'm saying from the other standpoint of okay.
No, I understand what you're saying. I just don't think. And I do listen to both of them. I wouldn't put them in the same category. I put them more into the calling out. Now, Whitlock, he calls out some of the bullshit, and when you listen to him, he does have some very valid points. He
loves white people more than anybody I've ever seen in my life.
Not necessarily.
Because it feels like that's all he's going to defend, and he's done that since he's been with FS1.
But, well, he's with the Blaze now.
Well, yeah. Right. I mean, they've switched everything up, so now he can talk about Joy Taylor's peanut butter skin and Big Rack.
Well, the point he was saying about that is, and the weird thing with her is she got pulled into this because she was named as a defendant. She wasn't the one making the complaint.
Oh, yeah.
But essentially, she fucked her way to the top.
And then she gets dragged for it, and nobody's talking about what the alleged claims for.
Sure. But I guess my point with those two guys is, they point out the race hustling. There are people in the white camp, like the Nick Fuentes bullshit. Mm-hmm. Like, that kid's despicable as shit. He pulls that car. He's the opposite of Joy Reid, in my opinion. Like,
Joy Reid or Joy Taylor?
Joy Reid, the one from MSNBC.
Okay, you're talking
about Joy Taylor. I mean, Joy Taylor comes and does some of that shit.
I just said Joy Taylor. I thought maybe you misspoke.
No. To me, Joy Reid is in the Al Sharpton camp of race hustling. Like, and Jamel Hill. In my opinion, she went full-blown that direction, because when she started to lose followers and an audience, she really leaned into that. And now everything is race. Like, when your only angle is race, you are now the race hustler. And I know what you're saying. Whitlock does it a lot.
Yeah.
He does do it a lot.
No, I'm just trying to see if you think what both of them are doing are the same, or is one more combative because of the other.
So
because Clay Travis is making a ton of money off of people that are so tired of the anti-white stuff, and I mean, he's gone full bore, and you look at his company, they're making millions and millions of dollars.
But I also look at what he says, and I see some of the stuff he says as reasonable. He's not completely full of shit. When I listen to Joy Reid and Nick Fuentes, nothing they say makes sense to me. It's all shit. Like, that's the full-blown... Like, there's levels to this shit. The reason why I bring up the Joy Reids, and I bring up the Jamel Hills, and I bring up the Al Sharptons, because nothing they say makes sense to me. Just like nothing that Nick Fuentes says makes sense to me.
Just garbage.
He's a horrible human being. It blows my mind that because, and again,
like, he even started that push "Your Body, My Choice" after.
Well,
and like, dude, just shut up.
I get it. No, I don't get it. I don't mean that I get it. I understand why he's doing it, because without the race hustle shit on the white side, he has no fucking audience. And my point is, the reason why these people do this is because that's their niche. Like, and Mike's here, by the way. When Mike and I talk about this...
Do we get him plugged in?
Yeah, he's in. If this show could grow much faster and get a lot more money if we stayed in one niche. There's more money in niche podcasting than there is in general format podcasting. But you just run out of shit to say, and you say the same shit over and over again. Well, that's kind of like a Joy Reid and Nick Fuentes. They don't say different shit. They say the same thing every show. She's whitey, he's blacky, right? Yeah. Or Jewish. He kind of mixes that up. Mm-hmm. And then, like, if someone...
Well, he forgets who he wants to hate that day.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
but if someone... Like, and when Joy said, oh, you know, I've done 4 days in a row, whitey, well, now I'm going to say this black person is the white face of black supremacy. Which... how that shit caught on is mind-boggling. Like, I don't understand how, if, as a black person, if you have a different opinion from the collective, you're automatically demonized. You're called Uncle Tom. You're told, which is funny because in the story, Uncle Tom isn't what they're referring to him as. They call him a coon, a house hen. All the racism toward to black people on black people, calling that one person horrible stuff because they have a different opinion, or because they see the world a little bit differently, dude. But then you've got Democrats saying, "Oh, we accept everybody." No, you fucking don't. Which is why a lot of people
accept everyone, but they accept one idea, like
correct,
one train of thought. Yeah. They'll accept you, but you have to be in line. And I don't want to say all Democrats, but from the left, it seems to be like diversity of races, genders, sexual, all the.
You're wondering how far it can actually go, because it, like, even myself, I lean very liberal in some of these things. You want to do something to your body, they should have to be a certain age. You go do it, live your life however you want to live it. Doesn't affect me one way or the other. But
that's right wing though.
What's that?
You're right wing though.
Okay,
because you said if you're a certain age.
Yeah.
That makes you right wing.
But the thing is, it's go ahead. But it's diversity of appearances, but not of thought. The thought all has to be in line, and once the thought is outside of line, or goes too, or isn't progressive enough, then all of a sudden you're now all of those other things. So that's what I've noticed by them. Anyone who's listened to the show long enough knows where pretty much all of us fall. Like, on different issues. There's no box, but you can't market. You can't do polling based on people who are in different. Like, I'm for this, I'm right on this, I'm left on this. No, you have to fit in the box.
Yeah.
You can't poll sane versus insane.
Yeah. Right.
Are you insane? No.
You know, the thing that makes me so angry about the two-party system is that you have people on the right that can look at Marjorie Taylor Greene and go, she's batshit crazy. Like, she comes up with a lot of dumb stuff, like, says some insane things. But then you have people that just want to protect her because she's on the right. And the same thing with the left. Like, I'm just using that as an example because that was easier. But, like, you have the same thing. People would say stuff about AOC or, you know, whoever. You Schumer. Pick whoever you want. And it is weird to me, like, you'll overlook the bad things they are doing, the Matt Gaetz of the world, whoever. You know, you overlook the bad things that are going on because they're part of your party then.
But the funny thing, it's interesting you pointed out Matt Gaetz. Why do you not like Matt Gaetz? I'm interested to hear why.
Oh, man, all the stories about him paying the underage girl or paying the girls, what, with a check or with a Venmo?
What if I told you it didn't happen?
Go ahead.
It didn't. He got taken to court. Charges were dropped.
But charges being dropped does not mean it didn't happen.
It means there wasn't enough evidence.
Yeah, okay.
To convict him.
That's fine.
Which generally means either it didn't happen or it was really far adjacent.
Or you just don't have reliable or trustworthy people coming forward with it.
Financial transactions are pretty solid.
Should be.
Right. But meaning they didn't.
But again, if you sent somebody $100 on Venmo and it was for a hand job, and then you put it for chicken parmesan, I mean, I hope they washed their hands before they made the chicken parmesan. If you get what I'm saying. No, I'm kidding.
But things like that. I feel like on the left, the Democrats, they're very good at the smear campaigns. They're very good at using court systems. But they're far better at it than the right is. I always said the ground game for the Democrats and the background game for the Democrats is far superior than Republicans. Republicans just kind of roll over and take it other than just shouting about it. Because I'll give you an example. And it's been going on for decades, and it's the playbook they use forever. Clarence Thomas. What did they do during his confirmation?
What do you mean? You're talking about dragging him from all the other stuff that went on?
They claimed he was a sexual predator.
Yeah.
With Anita Hill.
Oh, you want to go way back? Okay, yeah.
I'm going to show you the playbook and how they keep using it. Brett Kavanaugh pulled some lady from his past from high school who didn't remember anything that happened. Didn't even remember if he was there. Claimed sexual assault. Didn't happen. Nobody could corroborate it. Yet they dragged him during a Supreme Court nomination for it with conviction. People still think he's a sexual predator. They still think he raped Christine Blasey Ford. Didn't happen.
See, but there's that thing you keep saying didn't happen.
It didn't.
Can't be proven.
No, it didn't happen. She even doesn't remember. She doesn't know if it happened. Like, did this happen? I don't know.
Because you get what I'm saying. I'm not arguing. But it's not about the content of it. Like, OJ being found not guilty does not mean he did not murder those effing people. Right?
No, but this is different. You got a Supreme Court nominee, and you're trying to drag him for rape when the person that you paid to be the witness said, I don't know if it happened. I couldn't tell you. I don't recall. Well, why the fuck are you bringing her in then?
Yeah.
You're okay with dragging someone, a Supreme Court nominee, on something that, if the scale was 1 to 10 on evidence, you maybe have a 0.5. It's the Democrat playbook. They're doing it with Pete Hegseth.
Oh, yeah. I saw people trying to drag him for his tattoo and not even knowing what some of the stuff actually means.
But Jeremy, his mother said he's a bad guy, so it must be true. What the fuck? Then the guy in the hearing with his kid there starts talking about the mother of that kid, like just dragging him in front of his kids. Like, what kind of a fucking person are you? And they're going to do it with RFK. They're going to like that man has been dragged more than anybody. They got his family to do it. So his family's part of the big uniparty. They're part of what you call the deep state. You can call it whatever you want. His family's part of it. RFK Jr. is probably closer to JFK and RFK as far as Democrat ideology. The man has actually sued and won for environmental injustices. He's the one that helped clean up the Hudson River because corporations were polluting the shit out of it. He sued him and won to get him to stop. He's a huge environmental lawyer. And then with his vaccine shit, what do they say? Vaccine denier. Vaccine denier. He's never been that.
He wants to bring back polio, right? Is that
the
oncoming joke?
He's trying to kill the population. He's going to bring it back. No, he's not. You want to know what he did do, though? He sued the pharmaceutical companies to get mercury out of vaccines. Not to kill off the vaccine. Mercury was an unnecessary ingredient in it. I guess it helped bind to the cells, but there's another ingredient you can use for that.
Like the technology's better.
No. Pharmaceutical company, even back then in the 70s, pharmaceutical companies knew there was mercury was cheaper though. But there was another ingredient they could have put in there to bind the vaccine to the cells. He's the one that sued to get mercury out of the thing. Want to know what? They just found, I believe it was 8 years ago, pharmaceutical companies are using mercury in vaccines again. So this guy has been fighting for us, people, for years. Now, you made a shit ton of money. I'm not saying he's some altruistic demigod. But they would love you to believe that he's anti-science, anti-vax. The shit he got dragged for on Rogan, saying that the COVID-19 virus might have been a genetically modified virus to only affect certain people. He got dragged for that. You want to know what he did, though? He read from the NIH publication, which said that. That's all he did. He literally just read the NIH pub. But they dragged him as making it as if it was his words. But that's the Democrat playbook. They're going to drag you because the initial headline is what everyone's going to believe. No one's going to go look in the page 6 retraction. And this is why I say the Democrat playbook is amazing. When you see genius at work, you have to appreciate it. I don't have to like the genius. I don't have to like what they do with the genius. But man, it's amazing.
This kind of feels like the Shane Gillis bit where he talks about at some point you grow up and you start watching the History Channel. And if you're a 40-year-old white guy, all of a sudden you start looking at things and you slowly become a Republican. And it's this ongoing joke, but he said it's happened to he looks at his the life cycle from his grandfather and the same thing and how it went on.
Well, and it's like they said with education now. Higher institutes of education. Nowadays, if you have a degree, it doesn't mean you're educated. You're only learned in what that institution taught you. Now, if that institution, and I'll use Harvard as an example, because Harvard seems to be this new bastion of this woke ideology bullshit, which also isn't a coincidence, because one of the board of directors has a last name of Pritzker. Now, does that name sound familiar to anybody?
Yes.
J.B. Pritzker is the governor of Illinois. His sister is on the board of Harvard. That family is one of the true believers in trans ideology. They're and this is a billionaire family. This trans ideology. It's not the trans people doing the story hours. They're not the ones on the front line. They're being paid by people like the Pritzkers, these billionaires who believe in it. And it's kind of like the New York Times doing the article on trying to make pedophilia more acceptable to the public. So
they're not going to get that one over.
They've already done it.
No, you can't get the mass majority to agree to that.
It starts small. You have a portion of the Democrat Party that believes it.
Well, those people are idiots. So, but again, this is why I hate the two-party system.
No, but here's
go ahead.
I was going to say one more thing. This is what I think separates Democrat and Republican. Right now, what people haven't realized is the Republican Party is undergoing a switch, and it's been happening for 10 years, maybe even more, where you have the Matt Gaetzes, you've got even some like the Nancy Maces and some of those people, and you might not like them. People, and there's a reason why people don't like them. It's because the media goes after them hard. And don't get me wrong, sometimes they don't help themselves. But they've actually, this group, and the Byron Donalds and all these guys, they actually are going after the Mitch McConnells. So it's actually an intra-party fight that no one's really seeing happen in real time. It happened last year with Kevin McCarthy.
Does Mitch McConnell know they're going after him?
Yes.
That's why McConnell doesn't know what planet he's on.
Well, I think you got what I was getting at.
But he's also not the speaker anymore.
Yeah.
He got... Yeah. Now, it didn't help that he didn't know which way was left, right? But at least there is one party that is fighting now within itself, right? And that to me was the difference. Everyone on the left is in lockstep, it seems. Like when you go on Twitter, I saw 3 different politicians with a gray check mark say the exact same fucking thing. Word for word. That's a talking point. That comes from the DNC.
But there's also that point too, like Sinclair Media. The points, like I know you guys have had to see this. I mean, that's right wing.
Soros bought a whole bunch of 200 radio stations.
Yeah, but they took the news report that ran on every station, and it was identical.
Oh, sure.
Verbatim everywhere.
Well, you've seen those clips, like Jimmy Dore does them, or Dave Smith will do them, where they'll take the thing that they're saying among all the talking head pundits on all throughout the corporate media, and they'll say, safe and effective, safe and effective, safe and effective. Sharp as attack, and they're all saying the same thing. It's
whatever the trigger words are that they want to use.
It's coming from somewhere. What I was going to say earlier when you were talking about the Pritzkers and the trans ideology, or not trans, the pedophilia, that's that whole where they're trying to shift it from pedophilia, which is like, don't use that. That's bad. Well, that word has bad meaning attached to it, as it should. We're going to say minor attracted persons.
Yeah, that's
bullshit. Sorry. But that like if I like to kill people, if I wanted to kill people, like, oh, he's not a
murderer.
A murderer. He's a homicide attracted person, or whatever you want to call it.
Ability adjustment specialist.
Yeah. Like stop softening everything, and then with the parties. First of all, I don't like it's the uniparty, as how I refer to it. It's the old school blob that runs Washington. The 10 richest, I think it's 9 of the 10 wealthiest counties in the United States all border D.C. Like, there's a reason for that. But with the Democrat Party being in lockstep, when AOC was elected, I saw, okay, I disagree with her on probably every single policy stance she could have. However, she ran as a socialist. She overthrew some 16-term congressman. Like, okay, now we're getting some of this dead wood out. While I disagree with her, hopefully she'll bring some. And some of her lefty stuff was stuff that I could be on board with. But the second she gets in, she falls right in line.
Yep.
2016 Bernie Sanders. I freaking loved 2016 Bernie Sanders. But 2020 Bernie Sanders, right in line. It's like it's like the second they get in, they get the email, they're like, all that stuff you ran on and said you're going to do? No, this is what you're doing. And if they don't, they'll destroy it. They'll just, look what they did to Al Franken.
They did to Heath Schuler.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, well, the Al Franken one I remember.
Well, the Al Franken, but then Heath Schuler was one. He was a Blue Dog Democrat, which, by the way, how many Blue Dogs are left? So Blue Dog Democrats were moderate Democrats. They're not there anymore. They're gone. So like Heath Schuler won on name in North Carolina, of course, because he's Heath Schuler.
Did he play for the Redskins too?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He got one term, and they primaried his ass out. If you don't fall in line, they toss you the hell out. Whereas I think at least with the Republican Party, at least now, I think there is definitely an inter-party fight going on. And that's what they call it, the America First versus, basically it's America First versus the Uniparty. And right now, America First, whatever that means, is winning. So we might actually get 2 different parties rather than the Uniparty. Then the one thing, it was funny you mentioned Bernie Sanders. So 2016 Bernie Sanders was different from 2020 Bernie Sanders, which is different than 2024 Bernie Sanders, because all of a sudden he's back on that soapbox about the shit he was back. Like, dude, you didn't say shit for 4 years when Biden was president and wasn't doing any of this shit. Now, all of a sudden, because Trump is back and you know it's good for your brand.
I have something to say. Yeah.
Well, Elizabeth Warren's the same fucking way. Like, Biden didn't do anything to boost that consumer protection...
Consumer Fraud Protection Board or whatever.
Yeah, whatever that is. Like, that was her baby.
Yeah.
And it should have been amazing.
Yeah.
It's basically to prevent the consumer from these big corporations fucking you over.
Yeah.
It was finally something the government was doing for the people. And Obama and Biden and Trump all basically squashed the shit out of it.
Well, yeah, because they know where their either their rich friends or where their money's coming from. And it's funny how everything else people go after. They go after big pharma, they go after insurance. No one ever goes after the credit card companies.
Nope.
And like 30% interest on a credit card is some poor kid, some family that's like.
How about
the
those
mafia
payday
didn't
loans?
charge that.
Dude, that's
The payday loans are just it's the most ridiculous thing because you can't. It's okay. We'll set you up next month, and then all of a sudden you're looking at. I had a friend that lost all their money trying to pay this thing off, and said the amount was still more than what they had originally paid to get it. You know, like it's.
This is how they get you. They give you a minimum monthly payment, but your minimum monthly payment doesn't pay the full amount of the interest.
No, so it keeps.
So
adding.
the interest adds onto the principal. And now you're paying interest on the
interest?
new principal.
Yeah.
Dude, it's that shit is so
How
shady.
is that even allowed? Like,
Well, I don't think it is. But
like
I think
now,
they do it and get away with it. Then they go. Then once the law comes down, they declare bankruptcy and they just pop up as something else.
And the other thing now that's like so annoying to me is no matter where you go or what you're signing up for, like I got to sign up and create an account at the NBA because I have something going on there. Do you give us access to track? Like, why do you need to track what I'm doing? Why does Facebook need access to all of my photos? You know, like what kind of information is being stolen from you on a daily basis? Why is it when you say something, all of a sudden it shows up on your feed on social media? It's crazy. They
search for something.
Well,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Search for something, whatever
dick
you're
pics.
looking for. And the next thing you know, what's that?
I said search for dick pics.
Yeah. And all of a sudden my Facebook feed is full of dick pics.
I'll keep texting you. These are bad angles, so don't judge me.
I keep getting those Barry memes. By the way, if someone sends you a San Francisco Chronicle link, it's probably
Read
Barry.
it.
Yeah.
Definitely read it.
I sent so many of those.
Breaking news. The only good thing to come out of 2020 was Barry Wood, rest his soul.
That's
'Cause
right.
he died before he even
That's
saw
why
any
his
of that.
widow was saying that she's pissed off that everyone else is making money off him and she can't. Like
She never made a dime off the guy.
She just trademarked that shit real quick.
Yeah, but she does walk like Yosemite Sam.
She just got off a horse. Still.
No, but like just kind of getting back to all this. I mean, I don't even think we talked about the inauguration, but you know, it's like politics bother me so much just because when we start talking about whichever side you're on, what you believe, I think ultimately it comes down to which people in your party have sold out to which companies, whether it's the NRA, big tobacco, if you want to talk about the alcohol industry, big pharma. I mean, you got to get money from somewhere. And even when you have money, you want more money. So, like, it's crazy to me because I don't know that we'll ever get to the point where it's just like, hey, here's 10 people you're voting for. They're not affiliated with any party. Just go look at what they're doing, and we'll go from there.
If you haven't seen Thank You for Smoking,
Jeez.
watch it. It's so good.
It's so eye opening too.
And it's
I saw it a long time ago, but I don't remember it.
so
Watch it again, dude.
Yeah.
It's worth watching again. It's a good movie.
even if you're like, it's a good movie on its own, but like specifically,
It's about
this,
selling cigarettes, right? The guy's
a lobbyist.
Yes, I
For
do
the
remember
tobacco,
now.
and he has lunch, and they call it the axis of evil, or and it's tobacco, alcohol, and firearms. Like, so and they meet for lunch every day.
Yeah.
And then it's like what they do, and like, you know, how how could you lobby for the tobacco industry? And you're despicable. But then it gets like, he has a little daughter, and like, it's a good movie, and it's really like, you know,
You see the hypocriticalness, or like you get to see, yeah.
So like it's you know, especially relevant to this particular conversation because, you know, it gets into where the evil comes from. You know, you have guys like, and like the old guard Republicans like Leslie
Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham. And like that dude just, down there wanting nuclear war and come on, man. Like
anti-gay and gays the spade. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly.
Joe Rogan's
just my opinion.
Joe Rogan was so funny when he was talking about that. Like when he was thinking about when Graham was talking about running for president, they're like, well, Senator Graham, you'd be the only bachelor in the White House. It seems, there'd be lots of ladies in there. Come on, dude. And Joe Rogan's like, when he does it, they're talking about how the minerals in Ukraine and how Lindsey Graham wants to. I'm getting all those minerals.
Lindsey Graham wants 2 minerals up his ass, allegedly. I have to say allegedly to make sure we don't get sued. By the way, everything in the show is purely opinion. There are no facts stated whatsoever. The opinions stated here are our opinions only and don't represent anyone else. There's your PSA. I have to make sure we say that because apparently a lot of people hate listening to this show mostly because of me. Last show I mentioned how my wife wanted to start an email campaign against the company that did my glasses.
No,
I was like, no, what are you doing? There's no email campaign is not doing anything except make yourself look foolish.
Yeah, they go right into a freaking
circular file.
Yeah,
although it's an electric circular file.
Yeah.
So, a little basket. So originally you had mentioned how like people are pissed off that people are performing at the inauguration. To circle back to it,
yeah. And Snoop Dogg is now performing, Carrie Underwood, and
this is the part I don't get. Snoop Dogg, of all people, is getting a lot of shit. From other black people, though. Like, they're literally saying he's a turncoat. Like, dude, you're talking about Snoop Dogg, the guy who funds whatever, Pop Warner, Little League football. I don't know if it's called Pop Warner out there in California, but he funds an entire league for mostly black kids.
Yeah.
His charitable stuff. I mean, look,
it doesn't matter. You did something I don't like now,
right.
So that makes everything else void, and that's what I hate about society.
But I mean, he's getting more shit for this than when he's on trial for murder.
The people that should be getting shit are the people that say, no, I don't want to go to the White House because I don't agree with their beliefs. It's the fucking president inviting you. You go and you do what you're supposed to. Like, you smile. We all can be adults, even if you don't agree with someone. This is what I hate about society now.
Well, if I had been during Biden's term, if Joe Biden invited me to the White House, I'm going. What other chance do you have to meet a sitting president? Like, how could you go visit him?
Well, I mean, he would be sitting at that point.
Yeah,
I'd go.
Yeah,
I would. Dude, any president asked me to go, I'm going.
Yeah.
I'll go.
Yeah,
just tell me where and when to be.
Right.
That's fucking cool as hell.
Yeah.
I can shake a president's hand.
If you told the child version of me that Trump would have been president and then president again, I'd have went, get out of here. What are you talking about? That's because you don't think about it. And then as a kid, I'm not considering that, but you go back and look at it. When my father was a child, Ronald Reagan was an actor. So it's like, you look at some of the things, maybe this is going to happen more and more. The thing that I don't like is when a celebrity then tries to run for office and become something, unless this is the field they want to be in, because the people that just started going, hey, The Rock should run for president. Why? Because you love his movies?
Yeah.
What does he stand on? Why should he run?
Because he's a nice guy.
But
that's the thing where I think there's they always say, let's bring an outsider in. Well, then Trump's first term, you could tell, he just didn't know what he was doing, and it's a machine like that. The federal government, which is what you become in charge of when you're the president, the chief executive, is the biggest organization to ever exist in the world ever. It's the most expensive. It's the largest amount of people doing the most amount of things or not doing the most amount of things, depending on how you want to look at it. But it's the biggest organization to ever exist in the history of mankind. It's bigger than the Catholic Church, it's bigger than the Roman Empire. It's bigger than all of these other things that were there. And then you come in and well, what's your background? Well, I lift weights and, I flex my eyebrow up and I make one-liners in action movies.
And you can also smell what I'm cooking.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. He's got to be our president.
I like your tattoos.
It's
what makes you qualified.
But, and I think and people, they see that on-camera persona and they get, oh, that was, and then the interviews he does. I've listened to The Rock on Rogan show. Like, I would love. So there's one. I think it was The Rock and Joe Rogan, and then the either the episode before or after, like Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer were hanging out, and then they all lifted with The Rock and Joe Rogan in Joe's gym, and I'm like, damn. First of all, I'd love to be able to lift with, like, if I could get a gym session with The Rock or Joe Rogan, that would be nuts. Like, bucket list type stuff, like Make-A-Wish Foundation.
I'll take the gym session with Tom Segura. That's I'd just rather meet him.
Well, no, but I perform just like Tom Segura. But I can imagine those two dudes there like dying.
Yeah.
They're taking smoke breaks between sets.
Yeah. But you see that stuff, you're like, okay, well, you see that person, but there's a lot more to running a good boss. Sometimes it's an asshole, it has to be an asshole. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, you're being an asshole, but you're an asshole for the greater good.
Yeah.
No one's voting for Donald Trump because he's a good dude.
No.
And this is what I don't think a lot of people understand. I think COVID kind of helped wake some people up a little bit as to how devious the government and the deep state can be. Killing off a couple million people is nothing to them. They don't care. If it suits their purpose, they're going to do it.
Well, look at Ukraine, the people that are getting... So,
yeah,
Ukrainians...
That's going to be senseless as shit when the borders don't change.
Yeah. So what they're doing is they're putting... I just heard that they're now drafting, like, disabled men over 55. So essentially, like, not physically disabled, like mentally disabled, right? And they're lowering the draft age. I think it's currently at 21 to 18. There will be no men left in Ukraine. They're all getting thrown into the meat grinder.
Well, that's Russia's problem, So because of the past wars that Russia's fought, I believe women outnumber men almost 10 to 1, which is why the whole Russian mail order bride thing, because the women wanted to marry somebody. And there weren't enough men in the country because of World War I, World War II, and the following wars after that. A lot of them died off. Like, Russia lost the most amount.
Can't we set up a dating site for the men in India and the women in Russia?
I don't think the women in Russia...
Those hornballs are running around. They can't find anything. Or even the men in China, right?
I've looked into their situation.
Okay.
I was
trying to help some people get
laid. I
knew
a little bit about the Russian situation, but, that scenario, though, where you're talking even like... What are we, 80 years removed from World War II? Russia's population hasn't come back to equilibrium. Like, in the United States, it's practically 50-50. Russia's nowhere near that.
50-50.
So what's happened is their population hasn't grown because there's only a certain number, and this is going to sound fucking stupid, but with only a certain number of men available to procreate with women, you can only have a certain number of kids. So you can't repopulate as fast as you would want to. And Ukraine's going to have that same issue because of so many men that are dying in these wars. Their population is going to take a really long time to recover.
Yeah, people don't realize so, like, when you look at World War II, we in the United States like to think, oh, we are the Americans, we came in and rescued everybody. It was really the Russians that won that war. Mm-hmm. The turning point of that war, which you consider Stalingrad or Kursk, happened in 1941, 1942, before we were even like fully mobilized to come in. So, and then when you look at casualties, the Russians lost, I think, 10 million.
Are you saying we Ray Lewis'd it? We jumped on the top of the pile and got the tackle?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
At the end of his career.
We might have tipped the scales, but yeah.
Now, what did help was just the industrial capacity and getting that stuff over through Lend-Lease and essentially just giving them, aircraft, tanks, all kinds of stuff. But
that's what we didn't make that big of an impact until we figured out the German sub issue.
Yeah,
because they were taking out our supply ships right and left.
Yep. But that and Enigma had a big deal with that when they cracked the codes.
Yeah, but there was a movie about that.
Yes,
I don't remember the movie.
Neither do I. It was really
about Alan Turing, who created the Enigma machine.
Yeah,
and fuck it. You talk. I'm gonna.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna Jamie this shit.
But the U.S. casualties of World War II were like 300,000. So it was a in the greater scheme of things, 10 million versus 300,000, like, they definitely took the bigger hit and bore the bigger brunt of that one then. And plus, their entire eastern part of their country was absolutely destroyed because the Germans were doing scorched earth as they were going through. So, and that movie about the Enigma, I think the dude Alan Turing was also gay, and they tried to.
The end of that movie. So I believe it's called the Imitation Game. Yeah, the Imitation Game. Through the end of that movie, when they talked about how essentially for him not to go to prison or something, he had to accept being chemically castrated, like because he was gay. Like and this was in Britain. This isn't in the U.S. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, well, you can go to prison.
Which one did he pick?
I believe he started with prison, and then he picked the chemical castration because prison was so bad. And then I believe about 5 years later, he killed himself.
I know he killed himself, but I didn't remember
because of the chemical. Yeah, because of the chemical castration
and all the
effects.
Too much weed. Yeah. I can't remember shit anymore, man. Like we were sitting here talking about it. He brought up that movie, and I'm going, I know I saw it. What was it about? And then as soon as you started talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. They were lobbyists.
Yeah, I'm just old.
But going back to the thing with Trump is people don't realize, and this was the reason he got voted in 2016, because Hillary at the time was associated with the Uniparty and the deep state. The only reason why people voted for him was because he wasn't them. Plain and simple. Now, some people were die-hard Republicans. They're going to vote Republican either way. But a lot of independents, and I feel like at this point, Mike and I are more independent than we are Democrat. The same thing kind of happened at this point. Kamala was the deep state. I mean, she's backed by them. He's not them. Them got us more war. Them got us more spending. Them gets them more rich, right? Now he might get them more rich, but at least he's saying, I'm going to do stuff to help the people. It's the mafia equal what the comparison. Jesus Christ. It's the mafia one that I always put out there. The mafia was insulated because during the heyday of the mafia, they took care of their own neighborhood. Joe lost his job. Joe went to the mafia boss. Mafia boss got him a union job. Nancy's husband died on that job. Mafia boss made sure that family was fed for the remainder of whatever, without Nancy having to go to work and let her kids run the streets. The mafia dropped breadcrumbs. Now the mafia was making money hand over fist, right? But they dropped enough breadcrumbs where people were like, okay, but we're taken care of, so you go make your money. I understand you're giving us a little bit, but a little bit's more than enough right now. Well, eventually, our federal government, aka the mafia, stopped dropping enough breadcrumbs, and the stat I point to is the income rise inequality, right? The working man wage hasn't kept up with the rate of inflation, which is the billionaire wage. And at some point, if you keep fucking over the working man, he gets a little pissed off when he sees that big of a disparity. Like, he knows there's going to be a disparity. Get that. I understand that. But when is enough where you turn from you making money, us making some money, to us making barely enough to survive and you fucking us over? And that's what Donald Trump represents to a lot of these people. He's a guy, he's brash as fuck, tells all these fucking billionaires to fuck off, literally telling them to fuck off, which is what we want them. We want our leader to tell them, fuck you. We're tired of this shit. You're a professional politician making a shit ton of money. Help us the fuck out. And I don't mean by handouts, but you got corporations making record profits. And the heads of these corporations, the board of directors, the shareholders, they're part of that deep state uniparty.
You don't think these are the people that Trump is friends with?
No.
These billionaires, I mean, because look, he's going to have people.
Elon Musk is not part of that. He's a billionaire, yes, but he's not part of the uniparty. He's not the George Soroses. He's not the Sheldon Adelsons. He's not those people.
He's not also the big corporate, like, when you look at, I'm sure he knows these people and probably these big companies and corporations and conglomerates, and they donate to both sides equally. And they're just hedging their bet.
Yeah, they want to have a say so in
right. So if I'm Raytheon and I donate $5 million to the DNC and $5 million to the RNC, for Raytheon, that's nothing. Mm-hmm. That's like me giving you, like, oh hey, the three of us go out to lunch. I'm like, I got the tab, provided you're not drinking too much. Yeah. we go out to lunch at Subway. I got the tab. That's I could take it. It doesn't even register on the on the scales. $5 million. They probably do $50 million. It doesn't matter. They're hedging their bet. The people see this. They see that, like, essentially the Ukraine war is this big money laundering operation where not even taxpayer money, because it's borrowed money, is going via Ukraine, and I'm sure whatever their aid is being siphoned off. Then the Ukrainians are buying weapons and material from the big defense contractors. Yeah. They need, ever since World War II.
I mean, that full circle makes so much sense the steel you're providing or the planes or the weapons or whatever.
Yeah. And that money, that cycle has been going on with all these, if you look at from World War II when they realized, that's when the economy switched, like, look how much money we made from building all these weapons. Since then, we've been engaged somewhere in the world most of that time. Korea, Vietnam, Middle East, Iraq twice, Afghanistan. That was 20 years long. Now it's Ukraine. It'll be something else somewhere, because they don't make money unless they're making Sidewinder missiles and all Strikers and Bradleys, all this crap they make. Like, that's how they're getting paid. If there's no war,
Patriot missile back in the
let me give
Storm.
Let me give a little bit more of a relatable situation, because not everyone's familiar with Raytheon and can relate to missiles and shit. Ford. All right. The Ford Maverick is a new vehicle. Newish, been out for a couple years. Ford makes it in Mexico just so they can make an extra profit on each one. Ford is a big corporation. The Ford family goes back generations to where the original, I don't remember if it was Henry Ford or a different one of the Fords, but they funded the Nazis and the U.S. in World War II. They played both sides, right? Because they wanted to get favor with whoever won. Well, this company is one of the largest employers in America. Auto workers can make a livable wage working on the line.
A very livable wage. My mom did it.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about in the middle of Ohio. I mean, a line worker could make $60,000, $70,000, and the average home price, I think, is like $150,000, $160,000. So it's a very doable thing on one income almost. I mean, probably not, but close, right?
Sandusky Auto, right, in Ohio.
But rather than building that Maverick in Ohio, they shuttered a plant in Ohio, putting a lot of people out of work, and they moved it to Mexico. To a lot of people, that's a big fuck you. And they're tired of that shit. Like, look, you're getting a lot of tax money here. You're getting a lot of tax benefits, tax breaks. These localities are begging you to stay, saying you can have this land tax-free if you just employ our people and give them a livable wage. And you're still going to make a profit on that truck. But these corporations, they don't think that they owe the country that they made their millions or billions in. They don't owe anything to the people. And it's not like a handout. You're giving them a job and you're still going to make a profit off of them.
But are you making the assumption that the new person in charge now, like let's say it's Trump, that Ford won't go to him and give him money and do the same effing thing all over again?
And I'm going to go by example. So in his first term, he told Ford, if you take this plant and you start making this shit in Mexico, I'm going to put a tariff on it. Any truck you bring back over the border, you're going to pay a 25% tariff on. And you want to know what Ford said? Okay, we'll build it in Ohio. As soon as he was gone, They moved that shit to Mexico again.
But and the thing is with
So yes, so again, he might say grab him by the pussy, but he's also fighting for people. Even though he's a billionaire, I get it. He's a billionaire. Elon's a billionaire. But for whatever reason, this billionaire is telling Joe Worker in Ohio that I'm willing to tell Ford to go fuck themselves if they don't bring this plant back here so you have a livable job. And that's an example. That actually happened. So I can go by what he actually did, or I can be pissed off by what he said 20 years ago. And 77 million people said, I'll go with the guy that I don't like the words that come out of his mouth because because the last time he was in there, he actually helped some people.
You know, the funniest thing is even the Republican Party, the one thing that the higher-ups are concerned about is what he says. That's it. Not what's going on, but what he says because he goes off script so often.
Oh, the dude.
He can talk for hours, man.
He's not polished. He's not a teleprompter guy. And if being concerned with what the guy looks like and how he looks he's not presidential and all this stuff, if that's the problem, if that's your main hang up, then you can put any stuffed suit up there, and have him read off a teleprompter. They tried with Kamala Harris. She was a stuffed suit. The second she's off teleprompter, disaster. He's a disaster. He's all over the place, and
he's funny though.
He is.
We're going to make Canada the 51st state. Yeah. It's just fucking hilarious. We're going to buy Greenland.
Yeah,
it's great.
He just says whatever comes to his mind. But that the whole thing where they ship jobs, they outsource jobs. First of all, the CEOs, the chief executives of these companies, they're like, say, Ford. Back in the day, their job was to make the most money by making the best product and selling it to people. That's how now.
No. The first rule of a CEO,
it's to your shareholders.
Maximize shareholder wealth. It's written in every single mission statement of a CEO.
Yeah.
You can look at it. It's in every single one of them.
Yep.
Maximize shareholder wealth is the number one responsibility of every CEO in this country.
So what happens then is, because the argument is, oh, well, if we made iPhones in the United States, they'd cost thousands of dollars and no one would be able to afford them. No, they wouldn't. They would cost what the market would bear.
They cost $1,000 now, and the phone companies give them away because they want you to pay that monthly bill. Because there's a 74% chance once you sign the contract to go with it.
You're with them for life.
To go with a cable company, a cell phone company, any kind of monthly bill that you have, 74% of those people will never change. So they're going to give you $1,000 phone, and in 10 months they're going to recoup their costs because you're paying $130 a month. And then everything after 10 months is fucking profit for them, and you're never going to leave.
I think I'm still paying Blockbuster.
Probably are.
I know people.
You paying those red box late fees still too?
I know people that are still paying for AOL. Like, huh? Yeah.
Does it still make the noise? Like, does it still have the interface that makes the noise, even though there's no dial up anymore? Like, if you're on broadband, does it still give you the 3 blocks and then give you like? That'd be hilarious if it did.
These kids will never understand masturbating to dial up.
The circle.
I can see half of it. Oh no, that's the guy. I finished.
I only need 1.5 seconds. Just stay going for 1.5 seconds.
That's the dude. Am I gay now? I think I'm gay.
I do like musicals. I don't know. Anyway,
but and the thing is, if they brought those jobs back, the only thing that would hurt might be their profits might go down a little bit.
2%.
Yeah,
2%.
2%. So they could pay, 0.25% on some dividend somewhere. That's what they care about. And they're not concerned with making the best cars anymore. They used to have, so when they were hiring, they'd look for the best engineers to design cars or whatever. Now they
poo-poo that.
Now they're paying people, they're looking for the best finance talent. Because they're not making their money selling cars. They're making their money in finance.
Well, hopefully we didn't enrage people too much with this episode, but maybe we did, and maybe you'll listen longer, because we have a lot of rage listening going on with this show. So
I was rage debating. You guys didn't even see it.
I had a quick comeback, but I forgot it already. I quickly forgot the quick comeback. I want to thank Adam Chubbuck with TechMD.com. TACMD.com. I want to thank Adam for sponsoring this shit show of a show. But we hope you enjoy it. We will don't know what we're going to talk about next week, but we will surely have a show. Thanks for listening. See you later.